Ever had one of those weeks where your job goes from, like, bad to, like, I'm practicing with the scout team bad?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what happened to Daniel Jones.
Oh, wow.
Quarterback for the New York Giants. We're going on a deep dive today
Okay.
into an article from CBS Sports all about his roller coaster ride and ultimately his release from the team.
Yeah, it's a situation that really makes you wonder what's going on
Right.
behind the scenes in the NFL.
And it's especially wild considering that just last year,
Yeah.
the Giants gave him a massive contract extension.
Right.
So we're going to unpack all of that, the benching,
Yeah.
the contract drama,
Yeah.
and what it all means for both Jones and the Giants moving forward.
Yeah, one of the most interesting aspects of this story
Yeah.
is how contract negotiations and injury guarantees can sometimes completely overshadow a player's performance on the field.
Let's rewind a bit and give some context for those who might not be following every snap.
Okay.
Jones was drafted 6th overall back in 2019, and there were high hopes that he'd be the next Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Big shoes to fill, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to be fair to Jones,
Yeah.
he had some moments of brilliance.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's been a real roller coaster.
More downs than ups, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that inconsistency probably played a role in this whole situation.
Sure.
He led the Giants to a 2-8 record this season before they made the decision to bench him.
Right.
Did that surprise you at all?
Honestly, the timing of the benching was what caught my eye.
Okay.
It seemed to come out of nowhere just 5 days before his release.
Wow.
And while they called it a football decision,
Right.
I think there's more to the story.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to dig into. Because initially
Yeah.
you think, okay, maybe they're just trying to shake things up,
Right.
see if another quarterback can spark the offense.
Right.
But then we learn that he's been demoted all the way down to practicing with the scout team
Yeah.
as a safety.
And that's when the alarm bells start ringing.
Yeah.
You have a guy who was just recently considered your franchise quarterback,
Right.
now playing a completely different position with the practice squad.
Yeah.
That's not a typical, let's see what else we've got kind of move.
So you're thinking there's a financial reason behind this sudden change of heart?
Well, let's look at that massive contract extension he signed back in March 2023.
Okay.
4 years,
Yeah.
$160 million.
Yeah.
That's a huge commitment from the Giants.
I remember fans were debating that deal all offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Some thought he hadn't earned it.
Yeah.
Others thought it was the going rate for a starting quarterback.
Right. And buried in that contract was a $23 million injury guarantee.
Okay.
Essentially, if Jones got injured, the Giants would still owe him that money no matter what.
Wow.
And I think that's the key to understanding why he was benched
Yeah.
and ultimately released so abruptly.
So the Giants were essentially trying to protect themselves financially
Yeah.
by keeping him off the field. That's kind of a cynical way to look at it, but it makes sense.
They were in a tough spot.
Yeah.
They'd invested heavily in Jones, but his performance wasn't meeting expectations.
Yeah.
And they were staring down the barrel of a potentially massive financial obligation if he got hurt.
And then just to add another layer of complexity to this whole saga,
Oh, yeah.
Jones actually requests his release.
Right.
And the Giants agree.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, they decide to release him now
Yeah.
in the middle of the season
Right.
instead of waiting until the offseason.
Right.
That seems pretty unusual.
Very unusual, especially when you consider the financial implications.
Okay.
This move results in a massive dead cap hit for the Giants. $47.1 million in 2024.
Oh, wow.
And another $22.1 million in 2025.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
For those of us who don't speak fluent NFL contract,
Sure.
can you explain what a dead cap hit actually means?
Basically, it's the amount of money that still counts against the team's salary cap,
Okay.
even though the player is no longer on the team.
Gotcha.
Think of it like this. You buy a brand new car, but then you decide to sell it a year later.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get back what you paid for it, right?
Right.
There's going to be some financial
Okay,
loss.
I'm following.
Yeah.
So even though Jones is gone,
Right.
the Giants are still stuck with a big chunk of his contract,
Exactly.
counting against their salary cap for the next 2 seasons.
Yes.
That's gotta hurt.
It does, but they also free up $19.4 million in cap space for next year,
Okay.
which could be crucial as they try to rebuild the team.
So it's like ripping off a bandage.
Yeah.
Painful in the short term,
Right.
but potentially beneficial in the long run.
Exactly. And there are other ways they could have handled this,
Okay.
like designating him as a post-June 1st release.
Uh-huh.
That would have spread out the dead cap hit over 2 years,
Oh, okay.
but it also would have delayed Jones's ability to sign with a new team.
So maybe they decided to take the bigger financial hit up front to give Jones a chance to move on more quickly.
Could be.
I guess we'll never know the exact reasoning behind the timing, but it's definitely a move that has everyone talking.
And it's a move that raises a lot of questions about how teams evaluate and manage risk, especially when it comes to the quarterback position.
And about whether loyalty to a player,
Yeah.
even one who hasn't lived up to expectations,
Right.
factors into these decisions at all.
I think that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
We have this narrative of the franchise quarterback, the face of the team, but then you have the cold, hard reality of the business side of the NFL.
Right. And that's what makes this whole situation so fascinating.
Totally.
It's not just about wins and losses on the field.
Right.
It's about the human element, the financial stakes,
Yeah.
and the tough decisions that teams have to make.
It's a reminder that the NFL is a business,
Yeah.
and sometimes those business decisions can be brutal.
Even if it means parting ways with a player who still has the potential to turn things around. It's a situation that has ripple effects beyond just Jones and the Giants organization.
Right.
Think about the fans who bought his jersey, who showed up to every game hoping to see him succeed.
You're right. For fans, this is more than just a roster move.
Yeah.
It's an emotional investment that hasn't paid off the way they'd hoped.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that the NFL is as much a business as it is a sport.
Right.
Sometimes financial decisions are made that might disappoint or even anger the fan base.
Well, now that the dust has settled a bit,
Yeah.
let's shift gears and talk about what might be next for both Jones and the Giants.
Okay.
No crystal ball here, but based on what we know, where do you see things heading?
For Jones, this could be a chance to hit the reset button.
Okay.
He's a free agent after clearing waivers and can sign with any team that's interested.
Though with that hefty contract still hanging over his head, you have to wonder if any team will be willing to take it on as is. That's the big question. He might need to restructure his contract.
Yeah.
Maybe even take a pay cut to make himself more attractive to potential suitors.
On the other hand, he's still young, and there's always a demand for quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
Maybe a team out there believes they can unlock his potential in their system.
You're right. A change of scenery could do wonders.
Yeah.
Sometimes a player just needs a fresh start with a new coaching staff and a different offensive scheme to thrive. We've seen it happen before.
Absolutely. And then there's the Giants. They're left with a gaping hole at the quarterback position. What are their options going forward?
Well, the 2025 NFL Draft is coming up, and that's where they could find their next franchise quarterback.
Okay.
There are always some promising prospects coming out of college.
But drafting a rookie quarterback is a long-term play. Do you think they'll go with a veteran free agent as a temporary solution until they find their guy?
It's definitely a possibility they could bring in a veteran who can provide some stability and leadership while they develop a younger quarterback behind the scenes, or they could go all in on a rookie and build the team around him. It's a pivotal moment for the franchise.
They're at a crossroads, and the decisions they make now will have a ripple effect for years to come.
It's what makes following the NFL so intriguing.
Yeah.
Every decision, every move has consequences, and in this case, both Daniel Jones and the Giants are facing uncertain futures. It'll be fascinating to see where their paths lead them.
This situation really highlights how complex the quarterback position is in the NFL. It's not just about talent or arm strength.
You're absolutely right. It's about leadership, decision-making, the ability to read defenses, and the mental toughness to perform under pressure. And finding a quarterback who embodies all of those qualities is like searching for a needle in a haystack.
And then you factor in the financial side of things, the massive contracts, the salary cap implications, the risk versus reward calculations that teams have to make.
It's a high-stakes game, both on and off the field. And for fans like us, it's a reminder that the NFL is more than just a game. It's a drama that unfolds week after week with storylines that keep us hooked.
There's the human drama of players chasing their dreams, the strategic chess match between coaches, and the business side of things where every decision impacts the bottom line.
And sometimes the most unexpected plot twists are the ones that keep us coming back for more in this case. I think we can all agree that no one saw this coming.
It's definitely one of those situations where you can't help but wonder, what if?
Yeah.
What if Jones had stayed healthy? What if he lived up to the expectations of that contract?
What if the Giants had given him more time and more support? We'll never know the answers to those questions, but it's certainly something to think about.
It's a reminder that in sports, as in life, there are always going to be what-ifs. It really makes you think about how much pressure is on these quarterbacks in the NFL,
Oh, yeah.
not just to perform on the field,
Right.
but to live up to these massive contracts.
Yeah.
It's a business.
It is.
But it's also someone's career, their livelihood.
And the Jones situation really underscores a larger trend we're seeing in the NFL.
Okay.
The rising value and volatility of the quarterback position. Teams are practically throwing blank checks at anyone who shows even a glimmer of franchise potential.
And as we've seen with Jones, that can be a risky gamble.
For sure.
What do you think makes a good quarterback contract?
Yeah.
How much should those injury guarantees, like the one Jones had,
Right?
factor into the equation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You want to reward a player for their talent and potential.
Right.
But you also have to protect the team's long-term financial health. It's a delicate balance.
Especially with a position like quarterback,
Absolutely.
where one hit can change everything.
And this case with Jones really highlights the tough decisions teams have to make.
Yeah.
When a quarterback isn't living up to expectations, do they stick with them hoping for a turnaround?
Right.
Or do they cut their losses and move on?
It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
Right.
And in this instance, the Giants decided to cut their losses,
Yeah.
even if it meant taking a massive financial hit.
Which begs the question,
Yeah.
did the Giants mishandle this whole situation?
Right.
Or were they justified in prioritizing their financial security?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at Jones's stats and say he underperformed.
Right.
But let's not forget he was playing in a challenging environment.
Yeah.
The Giants have had a revolving door of coaches and offensive coordinators during his time there.
Right.
It's hard to build any consistency when you're constantly adjusting to new systems.
That's a great point. You can't judge a quarterback in isolation.
Nope.
This system, the supporting cast, the coaching,
Right.
it all plays a role.
And remember, Jones did lead the Giants to their first playoff win in over a decade, just last season.
Oh, that's right.
He's clearly capable of playing at a high level.
So maybe this was a situation where both sides needed a fresh start,
Yeah.
a chance for Jones to prove himself in a new environment,
Right.
and for the Giants to find a quarterback who's a better fit for their long-term vision.
It's certainly possible, and that's what makes this story so compelling.
Yeah.
We don't know what the future holds for either Jones or the Giants.
It's almost like we're watching a drama unfold in real time
Mhm.
with twists and turns we never expected.
It reminds us that the NFL is more than just a game.
Right.
There's a human element to it, a business side, and sometimes those two worlds collide in dramatic fashion.
And for us fans, it's a reminder that there's always more to the story than what we see on the surface.
Absolutely, we can analyze the stats, debate the decisions, but in the end, it's the unpredictable nature of the NFL that keeps us coming back for more.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Daniel Jones saga,
Yeah.
it's clear that this is far from over.
Right.
Both Jones and the Giants are at a crossroads, and their next moves will be closely watched by fans and analysts alike.
For sure.
Where do you think Jones will end up?
Ooh, good question.
Will the Giants find their next franchise quarterback? It's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out, and that, my friend, is the beauty of the NFL. Until next time.